All right. So I'm trying a different recording software. So we'll see if this works out for you. I just wanted to explain what I was doing today, what I saw, what I did, what I didn't do, and why I did it. All right. So we're going to start with the S&P futures, and then we're going to go from there. Okay. The S&P had a huge rundown overnight. This thing fell off a cliff, right? A lot of what it was, I believe, Europeans doing their thing. People in England getting their little coronavirus lockdowns again and all that stuff. So I think they're scared. But the market doesn't like inefficiencies like this, especially in overnight sessions. So for me, what I was looking for is a reversion to the mean, and a lot of this is stuff that I did in Forex, and now I enjoy doing it on these futures because it works very, very, very similar. And I just had these levels priced out for some time now. So this level here is pretty significant, right? This big line that I drew. If you watch the YouTube video from this morning, you will see the how I draw the levels up and stuff like that. So if I zoom in for today, what I'm looking for is see this all overnight, and then by the time like 5:30ish, you start to consolidate, right? So when I see a consolidation like this, I expect it to either do one of two things: break up or break down. That's it. It's very simple. Price is pretty much choosing which way it wants to go here. And in my mind, I'm thinking that it wants to revert back to the mean because a lot of this price action happened overnight. The markets like to do things during market hours. And this is not like a super news driven event or catastrophic event where the markets want to sell off. It needs to breathe. It does need to not keep hitting all-time highs every day. So this is good for trading. It'll help us also having some levels and stuff like that. So like I said, I saw this big move down. I threw my Fibonacci tool on here. This is just percentage of retracement back from the top, right? So if it went all the way back to the top, it would be 100. And down here is the very bottom is 0. So a lot of times it likes to sit between the 23.6 and the 0 and just kind of chop along. And you can see that it did that, right? So my goal here is to revert it back to the top, not the top, but towards the top. So market opens here, it pops up a little bit, and then it starts to chop around more. I did enter a little early. I entered on this candle here, expecting it to continue its breakout. It did not. It pulled back and chopped around. I had my stops below the low because if it did roll over, I'm not trying to take that huge loss. But you could start to see price. It was consolidating, but the lows were starting to get higher and the highs weren't becoming as high, right? So if I drew lines on here, you would see that it became like a little bit of a wedge. So a lot of times price winds up like this and then it picks a direction and explodes out. So I held and I held and I held. And once I saw the price break up above here again, I decided I'm going to trail my stops a bit because I don't want to lose a lot. If it does fake out and push back down, I'm okay with that. So what I did was I started to push back up. I expected it to close. I have a market profile chart here somewhere. There it is. So what I expected on it was, well, we'll do it with here and here, right? 43.06 is this level right here, this white line. This is 2 days ago's low. So I expected minimum to come to that low and then push back up, potentially like to right where it is now. 43.16 would have been my ideal target if I were to have not been up so well this week and not trading, trailing my stops so tightly. Like I said, the reason I didn't take huge moves today is because of I already did all right this week. Why give it back, right? So hindsight's 2020. I could have let it run and could have made a really decent clip here, but I ended up making up for it a little bit with my NASDAQ trade, and I'll explain why I did that. So I got stopped out real tight. Right? I probably got stopped out by one tick, and then it ran back up because what I was looking for was it to hit the 43.06. Actually, I'm sorry, that was the second one, but the first one kind of just trailed it up and it nicked me out. I had my stop below the VWAP, So I looked for another entry. It did re-break this 4,300 level, so that's where I wanted to be, 4,300. I re-entered, and like I said, that first target was 4,306. So on this candle, it tickled 4,306 right there, and so I brought my stop to break just past break even, and then it gave me one more manipulation candle here and stopped me out for that $50 gain. So I decided, hey, I'm not going to keep chasing this and chasing it and chasing it and just stopping myself out and taking little chunks. I'm going to step away from it and see where it goes from this 4306 level, because it's a decent solid resistance. As you can see now, hindsight, it got right to exactly where my target was at 4316, but no harm, no foul, right? So we're going to go to see why I moved over to the NASDAQ a little bit, right? So a lot of that move on the ES happened at 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock here, we started to see a push up on the NASDAQ. Once I was out of the, I watched both at the same time. So as I watch this consolidate a little bit, I decide, hey, I'm going to take, once it breaks above this high here, I'm going to take it, right? So I decided we'll take it a break here. I took the break up. It did get pretty high. So as it started to push up, I had targets, really wanted to take profit if I could at 14,700, a nice round number. It still hasn't got there yet, and it's okay. It leaves us room for later, but you can see the levels. There's a decent level here. 14,700 is just from past, not necessarily more recent, but the ultimate goal for today would have been 14,726 if I was really holding and letting this thing run a little bit. But to no avail. I trailed it really tight because NASDAQ chops a bit, as you can see, right? Like with this dom here. It bounces around. I could be up a bunch, down a bunch, and it kind of just, it doesn't move as smoothly as that NASDAQ one, as that S&P one does. So as I get a decent profit up, why not secure some of that? So once I started breaking above here, I trailed it up and I got manipulated out here on this candle, which is fine. Took 345. So, like I said, that put me over $22,000 for the week. I'm right around in there. So, on my futures trades, obviously with a lot of this red comes stocks that are red, right? So, if you see some of these stocks, my CRM trades a little down today. Netflix, everything's a little bit down. Dropbox is trying to recover a little bit, so that's nice. But that's why my options trades are more long-term, swing-term, and my futures are my day trade. And this is where I can keep my profits coming in while my options profits take some time. And they'll have some drawdown and they'll pick up. But like I said, there's a reason why I trailed out today is because I was up a decent percent for the week for this account. So I don't need to chase the profits. I would like to secure what I can as I go. I would like to make sure that, I'm not losing what I don't want to give it back. So if you have any questions about my reasoning, I would like you to shoot me something in the Discord just so I can start answering some questions. I will do my next video this weekend, probably on technical analysis, which is a lot of what this is. But like I said, there was some fundamental reasoning behind that drop overnight. But the fundamental reasoning wasn't strong enough to hold that level. So that's why I had the bias of taking it long. And you can see it did play out. I didn't catch most of it on this account. If I show you TOPSTEP, I think I exited out. So yeah, I got rid of it. But I told you the TOPSTEP profit was a 1,043.40. So that's day one of step two. I'm going to try and pass that in 10 days. If I can pass it in 10 days, then I'll give you guys a little shout on here, and I'll let you know. But other than that, thank you for watching this video, and hopefully you learned a little bit. Peace.